Welcome to another episode of Chat GRC on the Blue-Lusional podcast, where me, Devin, and Casey interview a new grassroots candidate every week. This week, we ran into a big deal. We are so honored and humbled that you want to talk to us. Young lady, please introduce yourself and why you're here.
Good evening. My name is Dayna Marie Foster, and I'm running to become the next governor of Florida. Thank you.
I'm over here so excited. We're starstruck.
Mm-hmm.
We were literally like waiting. We were like, okay, I think Dana's gonna run. We're waiting for that campaign drop.
She was like, DM now.
DM now. DM now. I felt it trickling. I saw the little launch approaching. I was like, thank God, because we knew who we currently had, which I'm sure if you're from Florida, you know Jolly is running, who is a former Republican, very conveniently switched to Democrat right before announcing his campaign. I was like, there has got to be someone else, please. And Dana was like, hold on 1 minute, drop this campaign. And I was like, please, 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 please get her on, because oh my gosh, I need everybody to know who she is. So we are
Thank you.
so excited for your campaign launch. And we want to know what inspired you to run for governor this coming election.
So I think just like the rest of the country, after the 2024 elections, there was just this period of like just despair, right? And it kind of felt like all hope was lost. And so what I actually did is I went back to school. And I re-enrolled at my alma mater, Florida State University, Go Noles. And I wanted to pursue a political science degree because I wanted to understand like what is happening. I have over a decade's years of experience being a public servant, but that's very different than being in politics, even though politics is a branch of public service. And I was going through my first semester back, and it got to a point where after the first few months of this current presidential administration just became so exhausting and taxing that it was just always something different every, not even week, every day, every hour. And it made me turn to our state to say, okay, well, who's running for governor? DeSantis is going to be termed out. We already know Byron Donalds is at the forefront. And so when I saw who our front runner person was for the Democratic Party, and then I did more research, and I tell people all the time, the bait and switch is crazy.
Yep.
And to hail from the same county where this same script was also done by another elected official,
Yep.
I was like, no, something has to be done. And so I continued my research, and I was seeing, okay, well, what other elected officials might be interested, or they have had talks that they were going to run. And again, speaking from the stance of a constituent, I was like, no, this is not it. I had heard and I saw whether it was current representatives or other mayors throughout the state. And I said to myself one day, someone has to do something. Someone has to stand up. Someone has to speak out. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's me. What do I have to lose? When you think about the founding principles of our country, and even though it's controversial, right? But our founding fathers, they came from another country to this land to escape persecution and to have that independence. And they themselves were of the people, for the people, by the people. And keeping that same kind of sentiment, I said, well, there is nobody better to lead the people than someone from the people. And even yesterday, in a virtual event that we had through our campaign, we had a volunteer who said, and she put it so perfectly, she said, you are right here in the trenches with us. So you understand exactly what we're going through. And there's no one better to put in office as governor than someone like you, because you understand. And so I think that really sums it up as to why I'm running for governor. I'm running to ensure that we finally put people
Yes.
over politics.
Yes. I think
Yeah.
that is a consensus across the board. And I think it took this government shutdown and what happened this past week to really open people's eyes that it goes so much deeper than money. It is
Yeah.
the
And
donors,
I want
all
to
of that.
right. And even when you mention the shutdown and when we talk about the SNAP benefits being paused,
hmm
in that moment, we were able to see in real time how there's just no empathy, like
Yep.
within our current governor.
hmm
And that same lack of empathy will be there for whoever's to come from the Republican side.
Yes.
It was very simple. Declare a state of emergency
Yep.
and allocate
Yep.
those funds for those millions of Floridians to ensure that they did not go hungry.
Yes.
So when I tell people all the time that this is very personal for me, like I have kids in my classroom who were affected by the shutdown, whose SNAP benefits did not get reloaded, and they had to allocate what they had left over from the month before.
hmm Yes. I mean, people felt
Yeah.
abandoned in Florida. The main consensus was we have, or the House on recess, practically most of the shutdown, and the Senate, kind of at a standstill. So where is my representative? Why aren't they coming here and helping? Why isn't anyone working together? Why aren't the, House reps, senators coming back to Florida, working with the governor and doing everything that they can in each district to try and allocate
Yeah.
funds, work at the food banks, do what you got to do, and you turn around and it's just you're abandoned. You are. And at that
Yeah.
point is when I think a lot of people went, all right, I'm either done with the system
Mhm.
or we need a whole new system of leaders that are coming in.
They said they gotta go. And we were like, hey, we can help with that.
I second the whole new system
hmm
because there are some amazing people that are running across the entire state that are challenging incumbents, not just Republican, but even Democratic
hmm
Yep.
incumbents, because
Yes.
it is time to have a complete reset of our government.
hmm Florida needs it.
Complete reset. Yes.
hmm
Mhm. Yes.
Absolutely.
So basically, throughout this year, we've been saying we're getting a crash course in civics. We're all figuring out how everything is working because we're watching it get destroyed in real time. So
Yeah.
it seems like a silly question, but for people who don't know, because there are people who don't know, what does a governor do?
So I like questions like this because it allows me to tap into being a teacher.
I
Even though I'm a
Perfect.
math
Yeah,
teacher,
I love it.
but it's a teachable moment. And
Mhm.
if I were talking to my students, I would tell my kids a governor sets the tone and the direction for the state, right? But then if we get into the nitty gritty details of it all, and we talk about it from the standpoint, okay, well, what exactly does a governor do? So the governor is going to ensure that it's managing the executive branch. So I guess the parallel that you can draw is like the president, right? But it's
Mhm.
of the state. And so with managing policy, the governor does have abilities to enact like executive orders, veto legislation, but being governor, which a lot our current governor has kind of strayed away from, is being a servant. And that's the key piece that we have to put at the forefront of, well, what is a governor? A governor is a servant. And again, making sure that they're putting people over politics, making sure that when they're putting policy into law, they're asking themselves, and this will always be my guiding question or my North Star, so to speak, as governor, does this policy help the majority of Floridians? Does it help improve their lives? Does it make their lives better?
I mean,
No,
it
no.
sounds so simple too, right? It's like my job is
But it
literally
is.
to serve the people and make their lives better.
hmm
Yeah.
That's it. But
Yeah.
a whole lot of people have lost sight of that whole
Yes.
public servant part of the job description.
And right. And don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it seem like this is some like easy task. No, being governor is a very serious matter, right? Especially when you look at one of the key attributes of being governor, which is proposing a state budget, right? But even then, having that type of responsibility, you have to ensure that you're putting people over politics. You have to ensure that you're being fiscally responsible. You have to ensure that you're not taking the money, public dollars, away from public goods, and then you wind up in a scandal.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The whole
Yeah, a couple of
scandal.
people there. Yeah, a
Yeah.
couple people there know about that.
And you
right.
also, yeah, it's not an easy task for an entire state of Florida for somebody to say, this is what I believe the people need, because you have two very opposite sides of the political spectrum living in Florida. You have people that are very
Mhm.
deep MAGA roots, rural, and then you have the what I would say even leftists, very far
Yeah.
left in your
Yeah.
major cities. So they are all not going to
Mhm.
agree on the best path to move Florida forward. So it is not an
Right.
easy task when you are trying to not even play middleman, but just trying to figure out the best path forward for Florida when there are a lot of differing opinions on how to get there.
Right. But, I'm absolutely ready and I encourage the dialogue from both sides. Um, I want to share something. I didn't speak about it in my campaign launch speech. I wore the color purple. And in my speech, I alluded or I explicitly stated that it was in honor of my grandmother. Her name was Violet. But there was another reason why I wore it, and I didn't say. But I think now, because of what you've just said, it is an opportune time to explain that when you mix red and blue together, you get purple.
Yes.
Mhm.
And from day one, I want to ensure that all Floridians know that I will always fight for and protect every single last one of them. And it's not about putting politics and those who politically align with you. No, I will say it until I'm blue in the face, no pun intended. We have to put people
Yes.
first. It's
Mhm.
not rocket science. We
Mm-hmm.
have to put
It's
people
not.
first.
No,
It's not a red versus blue thing
it is. You say it much
at
Right.
better
all.
than we do too, because we're over here like, these grassroots candidates are going to protect you whether you like it or not. They're going to protect every single one of you. You
Yeah.
said it much nicer than we
Yeah, you have a more
normally do.
diplomatic
Thank you.
approach. Now we're like, "You're
Thank
gonna
you.
vote and you're gonna
Like
like
it.
it."
Yeah, we're the good cop, bad cop. We're over here like, she's going to defend everyone in Florida, whether you like it or not.
And we
Yeah.
have every intention once we start to mobilize throughout the state to visit those deep red districts. I'm not afraid. When it says on the website that I am undefined, that I'm fearless, that I am what's next,
Mhm.
those were not just taken just because they sound good. It's
Mhm.
the reality of it all.
It is.
I am not afraid, and I'm absolutely ready.
I love it.
Yeah, and I think that's a definitely like a pain point for a lot of people down south, deep red districts. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, well, the Democrats don't even bother like trying to campaign here or come see us. Like we
Right.
feel abandoned. So they're like, why
Yeah.
would we? Why would we give them the time
Yeah.
of day? So I definitely love that approach.
I do, yeah.
Well,
I
thank
love
you.
just going right in there, and they're the ones
Yeah.
who need someone like you. They just haven't
Yeah.
realized it yet. They need to talk to you. They need to hear you
Mhm.
Oh,
out.
absolutely.
You need to hear
Yeah,
them.
especially when we talk about public education.
Yep.
Public schools absolutely support our rural communities. And
Yes.
I don't think we talk about that enough. The dialogue is always very focused on our inner cities and urban communities. And absolutely, they're pillars as well. But we can't forget the other side,
Yeah.
of the
Yep.
spectrum too. And our rural communities matters too.
They do. They
Mhm.
do.
1000%.
And it leads perfectly into the next question. So
Mm,
we ask this question to everyone because I think it's
okay.
important that everybody knows how not only each district, but each state in general has been impacted by this administration. And I think you touched on it
Mhm.
a little bit in how you decided to run, what got you to this point, seeing everything that happened. Will you elaborate a little bit more on how Florida has been directly impacted by this administration just 11 months in?
So, my cousin has a saying. He always says, this can't be real. And most mornings I wake up and I'm watching the news or, my team, they're sending stuff in our group chats. And I'm like, this can't be
This can't be real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for someone to wake me up
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because it
Yeah.
cannot be. But when we talk about and when you say the current administration, are we talking about presidential or
I would
the
say
state?
presidential, and only
Okay.
because that's allowed people like DeSantis to push
Okay.
his agenda even
Yeah.
further
Right.
without pushback.
Okay. So absolutely. So when we talk about at the federal level and what they're doing at the forefront, one of our biggest issues is immigration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely that allows DeSantis, as you said, to kind of further push out his agenda. Right now in Florida, what we are dealing with is people feeling unsafe and unwelcome. Furthermore, even for myself as an educator, we have students across the entire state that are not showing up to school because their families are afraid that their kids are going to be abducted by
Yeah.
ICE, or if they're dropping off their kid, that they are going to be abducted by ICE. So we
Yeah.
are living in a space of fear. Even a member on my team, one of our directors on our leadership team, about a week, no, how many weeks ago was this? One of his very close associates was abducted by ICE in Miami.
Oh my God.
And we had to go within our network and contact the necessary people to ensure that she got the resources that she needed so that we could get her out and to make sure that she was okay.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, these are the realities that we're living in within Florida. Even when you look to the tariffs and how they're affecting our small businesses and these short-term trade policies that ultimately are not working.
Mm-hmm.
And then just today, now all of a sudden, we want to bring down the tariffs. I think the two areas were like coffee and beef.
Coffee beans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were two more, right? But for me, coffee and beef stood out because I was like, okay,
Great.
Right. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. Right. And it's just such a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that this is our government, this is the face of our country. For a lack of a better word, I can't say it, but it's a blank show that we've got going
Mhm.
on. If
Yep.
I could cuss, I'd cuss. But,
Yeah, go for it.
no.
No, it's okay. She's a teacher,
But,
Evan.
and when we look at the dismantling of the Department of Education,
Mhm.
it paves way for just within the last 24 hours in our state, we are going to be implementing curriculum that comes from the Heritage Foundation.
Yep.
The people who created Project 2025. But we talk about we can't indoctrinate our students, but we can implement a curriculum from the Heritage Foundation.
Yep.
It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
So now it makes it even more crucial to make sure that we have a leader who has a backbone
Yep.
and that can stand up to Trump to ensure that, again, we fight for and we protect all Floridians. And right now, because there's an assault on public education, we have to make sure that we have the right person leading our state so that we can prevent the privatization of public education as well. When people say, this is why I have my kid in a charter school or private school, no, they're coming for y'all next.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
They're
is
seeing
safe.
it in Texas.
Yeah, nobody is safe.
So
yeah.
I was
No, I'm
gonna
sorry,
say,
go ahead.
while we're on that topic, that actually leads
Yeah.
good into the next one. So what would be the consequences for Florida if Byron Donalds were to win this race?
Our freedoms. When we look at our very way of life and we see how it's being stripped away left and right, we will continue underneath a Donald administration to have extremist policies, divisive policies, limiting our self-expression. Like we have bans right now on displaying certain flags or being able to have rainbows across our roads in LGBTQIA plus communities. What?
Literally trying to strip freedom of expression. Like, that's insane.
Correct.
Hmm.
But it's okay to say that we are going to be mandated to have high school chapters of a certain organization that promotes certain ideologies,
Hmm.
but we can't have Latinos in action. We can't teach AP African American history courses. We can't do all these things. And, again, we cannot have a governor where they're putting politics above people and only ensuring that they push or advance policies that align with them politically. No, we have so many books that are banned that if you
Yep.
walk into some of these media centers at our public schools, their shelves are empty.
Yeesh.
Hmm.
So having Byron Donalds as governor of Florida means that we lose public schools, how we know it. And even then, right now, it's not what it should be. It's more fear for our immigrant population. We continue not having healthcare established as a right in the state, and it should be a right.
Hmm.
And working families are still going to be put on the back burner. And so people have to show up next year at the polls. This is
Yep.
an extremely serious matter. So when I say our freedoms, our very freedoms, and our democracy is on the line, it's not just because it sounds good, it's our reality.
Hmm.
But we can change that.
We can.
And we change that through our vote.
We do. Yes. And
Yeah.
might I say, I think the stakes are even higher because I've said time and time again that the one thing that Byron doesn't have that Ron did have was
Mhm.
Ron was a little bit selfish. And sometimes if Trump didn't agree with him, that was actually the
Mhm.
one time you would get Ron pushing back. And I
I was
don't
just about to
think
say the same
that
thing
that
you're
is
gonna say.
going to be the case with Byron. I think he is going to be a complete puppet of the
He's
MAGA
a lapdog.
agenda,
Absolutely.
and things will happen
Yeah.
much faster than you even thought it was
Mhm.
happening in
Mhm.
the 2 years we're going to have
Yeah.
DeSantis with the Trump administration. So it's even
Oh,
more urgent
absolutely.
than people
Yeah.
seem to think.
And I think in one of the previous questions, I think I answered and I said, we need a governor with a backbone.
Hmm.
Mhm. That's not him.
It's not
It's not
going to be
him at
him.
all. He's a jellyfish.
Honey, it's none of the candidates.
No.
We need someone with
Uh-huh.
a backbone
Hmm.
because
Period.
we have even certain candidates that couldn't even stand up to DeSantis.
Yes. Couldn't even
So,
commit to a party.
To kitten heels? Come on, man.
Yeah. When
yeah.
you're up against it, I mean, he is in it for fame, for money, for power. And we've seen how that works in the past. Two people who want power are going to butt heads and it's not going to work. Donald Trump
Mhm.
Yeah.
needs yes men, and that is what
Yeah.
Byron is. He is a yes man.
No thoughts of his own.
Absolutely.
Nothing going on up there.
No,
Not a thing.
Absolutely.
and that is
Absolutely.
why it is so, so important for people to vote in Florida.
Mhm.
That is to what you said. The sense of urgency has never been more bearing than it is this coming
And I want to say
election.
this
Mhm.
also too, just for any advocacy groups or activist groups that might watch this, we need y'all too
Mhm.
to make sure that we're revving up the voter registration. We're revving up that sense of urgency for people to step up and answer the call to action and making sure that they're exercising their right to vote.
Mhm.
And it's going to take all of us coming together. My saying is when we come together, we win together, but it's literally not just something because it
Mhm.
sounds good. It's the reality of the situation. We have to come unified as one people.
Mhm.
This is our home.
Yes.
I like that you said that. I've asked other candidates this. So, when you win, so would you want to have some type of thing where you're working with activists to like have like your ear to what's going on?
Absolutely. So with our campaign, I have a policy director, and he's like my policy and like coalitions director.
Mhm.
And even now, as just a candidate, we are ensuring that we're not tone deaf. that we're not reading the room just on our own, but we're listening to what's being said in each of these rooms. And so we want to work with current elected officials. We want to work with other candidates that are running in that same thread as myself of being a challenger to the system. We also want to make sure that we're working with nonprofits and, as you mentioned, activists or advocacy groups, because they are boots on the ground.
Yes.
And so, of course, one person cannot be in all 67 counties.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
so this is where you partner with those pillars of the community to hear what is happening.
Yep.
In addition, what we don't see is equitable governance in our state. And what I mean by that is that we have a governor that does not support all of the
Yep.
cities and counties within our
Right.
state.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot have good local government without it being supported and empowered by the state government. And so,
Yep.
under a Foster administration, that changes.
Perfect.
I love it.
I love that.
I love
Thank
it. I love it.
And you've spoken about this, but you are a teacher. And not only are you a
I am.
teacher, you're back in school. And I love that.
Yes.
I love
Thank you.
that. But you are a teacher in a red state and
Mhm,
you're a current student in a red state. So
mhm.
can you go into more detail on how important public education is in the state of Florida?
Absolutely. So I actually made a post about this just because I had so many people tag me in one question of a young woman asking about public education to one of the other candidates running as a Democrat. And I believe I responded by saying public schools strengthen red districts and blue districts.
Mm-hmm.
And as an educator, my job is to nurture and cultivate the minds of our future leaders of tomorrow. In addition, that good old saying says that a informed populace is a powerful one.
Mm-hmm.
So, how we keep our strength as people, how we solidify and keep the foundation of our democracy, how we ensure that we are creating, like I said, and cultivating the mind so that we have the future leaders of tomorrow, not so much just of elected officials, but the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers, the
Mhm.
firefighters, the grocery store managers, the bank tellers, the plumbers, the ACVAC
Yep.
technicians. That all stems from public education, whether it's K through 12 or our universities. And, I touched on a little bit about what's happening in terms of K through 12. But then when we talk about our universities and the fact that ICE is invading some of these college campuses, the fact that they too are being stripped of their identity. I visited UF over the summer because my sister goes to school at UF and she was there for her orientation. And when I went to the Office of Student Engagement, it was barren. Everything that was there to promote and support identity had to be removed because of state legislation.
Wow. Imagine.
And when you think about your college years, going to college is a moment of your time for you to find yourself. No matter what end of the political spectrum you're
Mhm.
on, it's still a point of self-discovery.
Yeah.
And these kids don't even get to do that. I have my own students who have graduated over the last several years who have said, yeah, Miss Foster, especially my kids that are persons of color, they'll always say to me, I'm a little afraid to be like going to my school because of the rhetoric that is now being encouraged. And so this inequity of, okay, well, when we supposedly do it, it's woke, it's not okay. But then when they actually do it, no, this is like hate speech, so to speak,
Mhm.
and slurs that are being used and dangerous rhetoric. We have to ensure that we protect our public schools. Because again, this is what's going to ensure that we are protecting our future.
Mhm. And I love that you
Yeah.
spoke on universities because I think people forget that for so many people, this is their first chance at freedom. I mean, you're finally moved away
Yeah.
from the home. You're figuring out your likes, your wants, your needs without, your parents over you. There's such a sense of freedom in that. And then to have that clouded by fear, by hate speech, by a university that is not going to take care of you if something were to happen, or doesn't even have the resources to help you if something does happen. That cloud, it's just so hard for somebody that some of my favorite formative years were my first, 2 years at college when I was really figuring my life out. And I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine it just being completely clouded by fear. It's absolutely appalling.
Yeah. And these realities are completely unfortunate because public schools are pillars of our communities, right?
Yep.
When we talk about Friday night lights, or
Yes.
we have culture like at FSU and going to Doak and tailgating, and this is widespread, this assault on public education. It's across all of our public universities from down in Miami to the Panhandle. And like I said, K through 12 in all 67 counties.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to have a governor that is going to ensure that we fully fund our public education system, but also making sure that we put back the good workings of it, right? Which is the diversity, the equity,
Yep.
and the inclusion. And I'm not sorry. I do not want to be asleep. I will be woke every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We've been asleep too
long.
long. Everybody needs to
Yeah.
wake up. You need to be woke. That should be a prerequisite,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Correct.
Yeah. So, what would your top 3 priorities be when you win?
Well, I think it's safe to say education would be one,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. We got to drive that one home. That one keeps me up at night.
That one does,
honestly.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
and whether that's, of course it's so multi-layered, but just to quickly just address the public education, it's teacher pay. And I'm not talking
Yes.
about a little 20% increase where it was really, we won't get into that. But we're going to re-amend the pay grade schedule as it relates to teachers, because just base salary, we're not starting off correctly.
Yeah.
And establishing that statewide, districts have to meet us and meet that threshold and that level for our teachers. We want to ensure that we bring back universal meals. I do believe that, yes, okay, we had universal meals that was supported by federal funding, but once that funding expired, it was up to our state government to find that solution to ensure that there was no lapse, because there are students that depend on those 2 square meals a day, breakfast and lunch. Not every school, for example, gives out free breakfast. Like where I work, we give out free breakfast to all of our students, but now they have to pay for lunch. There are some districts that don't even have free breakfast. Students
Wow.
have to pay for both
Yep.
unless they get free or reduced lunch.
Wow.
So, and when we look at working families and they depend on that source of food so that their children are fed at least 2 square meals a day, it again is not rocket science to ensure that we have universal meals. We want to make sure that we're putting our books back on the shelf. We want to make sure that for our special needs students, they have the resources that they need. And, even then, I'm not exactly sure what came about, but when they started to discuss that they were removing the certificates of completion,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that was heartbreaking
That
because
was crazy.
where my class is situated for my school, we are right next door to the ESC department. And so having that tolerance and having that empathy and having that level of understanding and hearing their glows and their grows of the day, their peaks and their pits, these kids deserve their certificates of completion. And there's so much more, but I think we'll just stay there because we'll be here all night.
I know.
My next area of importance would have to be healthcare. Because when we look to Washington, D.C., and I made this comment in my launch speech, that if Washington, D.C. won't protect us, then we will protect ourselves. And again, that comes with ensuring that we elect a governor that will fight for us and will protect us. I want to establish healthcare as a right within this state. And right now, I will respect the democratic process of individuals that are trying to get Medicaid expansion on the ballot as an amendment for the people of Florida to vote on it. But no matter what, I will expand Florida. We also want to make sure that we're investing in primary and preventative health care. So many people wait because they don't have the health care, but so many people wait until like the last minute to go and get actual like help. And sometimes it's too late, like where they're placed in positions where they have to battle for their life.
Mm-hmm.
But again, good government puts people over politics. And so if we had a governor who was putting the people of Florida over politics and his own personal agenda, then we would have healthcare established as a right in this state, not a privilege. And then the third area would have to be affordability, because that is something that is eating away at almost every single Floridian. Like, unless you're a billionaire, which there are very few of those, okay?
Yeah.
The majority of us Floridians, we are working class Floridians. And so even for myself, I live like in an income restricted community. I'm a teacher. I only make a certain amount of money. My salary is funded through taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
So when it comes to affordability, we have to have more communities like that that are income restricted, that are strategically placed in transit hubs, because you can't say, oh, yeah, well, everyone has a car. No, more than likely, if you are living in income restricted communities, you potentially don't have a car, because with a car comes car insurance and alligator to tackle when we talk about the insurance crisis in our state and the fraud and the abuse that's going on.
Yep.
So
it goes deep.
It is.
It does. And you know, I know a lot of people, they're like, we want to see her so riled up. And trust me, like, I am that person, but I also believe that we have strayed so far away from the prestige of politicians. I refuse to be a part of this newfounded narrative that they over there are trying to create. No, there's a certain level of professionalism and decorum that I will always uphold. I am running to become the next governor of Florida, and I don't take that lightly. So, but to kind of get back to that question, in that third area being affordability, we're going to have the income restricted housing. We're going to establish a state law as it relates to rent control. A lot of people don't talk about it enough. And when this actually was brought up to me, that we've had a statewide ban on rent control since 1977. Like,
Wow.
my mama was like 5. So,
Right?
so, you know, when you think about, right. And then back in, I believe it was 2023, DeSantis enacted the Live Local Act, which furthered that ban, preventing cities and counties from implementing something. So, you know,
It's literally
when,
trying
you know,
to
that
hurt
saying
people.
when, right, you know, that saying when they're like, just make it make sense.
Yeah.
Or
That's
the
what I'm
kids
trying to do.
nowadays, they're like, the math isn't
Yeah.
mathing, Miss Foster.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not making any sense.
No.
Like,
Who
none.
does it helps nobody.
helps
That helps nobody.
The billionaires
It helps
that
billionaires.
have vacation homes here, so that they can make the rent really high when they're not in the home renting it out. Large
Representing like
corporations
1,000
buying up housing in Florida. Everything is an Airbnb, a Vrbo. It's for them.
representing like 1,000th of your constituents is insane. That's crazy work.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Right.
That is crazy. And you know what is also, it seems insane, but it makes the most sense that every single interview we've done so far, when we ask this question, they say healthcare and affordability. Every single one. So that's why you know it is a countrywide issue. That it is not just, you know, orchestrated by Democrats, a non-issue. It is an issue when every single grassroots candidate we have interviewed, we ask this exact question, and they without a doubt say healthcare and affordability. every time.
But,
Yep.
when you think about it, when you bring relief to areas of making sure that A, people are housed, and B, they have access to ensure that they're healthy, then you give them the tools to achieve prosperity rather than having to struggle in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
But, I
It
guess that's way
stimulates the
too above.
economy.
It does.
Yes.
And, they'll talk about economics. Well, I don't know what kind of economics classes they've been taking. So,
I mean, I don't know.
The
And
good ones.
yeah, so to get all of this, people have to go out and vote.
yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, talking to people, especially Gen Z. This was their first
Mhm.
election. That was their first presidential election that they got to vote in. And for a lot of them, it was not what they thought it was going to be. We pulled the curtain back on a
Yeah.
lot of corruption that has been around for a long time, that we've finally been able to unravel. And a lot of people are feeling
Yeah.
like their votes don't matter, or they're not buying it. They're not moving forward. So we want to know what you would say to people living in Florida who are very cautious about voting again in the future.
I would say this. About a couple weeks ago, I said during an event that we might be in a dark space in society, but we have an opportunity to not just write a new chapter, not just a better chapter, but a brighter and bluer chapter. And your vote is your voice,
Yeah.
but in the most impactful way. And while it might not seem that way, I want people to understand that it is that way. Your vote absolutely matters. But then when we take your vote and then another and then another and then another, and it doesn't just grow linearly or quadratically, it grows exponentially. It's the math teacher coming out. And when we
Compounded.
come together, then that's how we achieve victory. Us having a Governor Foster next year is absolutely possible.
Yes.
But it only happens when we come together and we vote. We have to vote. That's why I believe I made a post and I urge people to go to like our state website. And I said, check your voter status. If you're inactive, re-register. In addition to that, they enacted a law where they change your driver's
Yeah.
license now when you go to renew it or
do.
replace it.
Real
Yeah, that
IDs.
happened to me. So, right. So I
Uh-uh.
have to change and update my information so I can also vote next
Yeah, you get a
year.
new driver's license
And so,
number.
yeah. And so it brings me back to something Kamala said in her concession speech, where she mentioned, don't ever stop. She said, don't ever give up. And don't let anyone tell you that something is impossible just because it's never been done before. Just because we've never had this statewide grassroots campaign running and gunning for the top position in this state does not mean that we will not win. We will absolutely win. But again, we have to vote. And that is the only way.
Mm-hmm.
The only way.
It is. You have to want a better Florida. So if you're living in Florida and you want to have a better Florida, the choice is very obvious. And for a lot of people, voting is second to working, to having that extra time to look over the ballot before you go in and know who's on it. For a lot of that's privilege to get to know who's going to be
Yeah.
on your ballot, to get to know
Yeah.
where you're going to be able to vote. You go to the wrong place, they send you away. Then you're like, well, I'm done. And so it takes, to your point, activist groups, people like us who are going to dedicate this next year to helping you learn how to register, how to know your ballot, how to know where you're going to vote,
Yeah.
and how to find that, how to know
Yeah.
if you need to vote early, if you're going to mail it in, or if you're going to go on the day of, and how you're going to be excited about it. Because we just saw it happen this past, not this past Tuesday at this point, 2 Tuesdays ago, that
Yes.
people will show up, especially when they're directly
Yeah.
affected and they're over it and they're done. And so we've watched sweeps that, New York City was something people 5, 10 years ago would never have thought would have happened. People are done in New
Yeah.
York City. They are done with status
Hmm.
quo, and they need somebody who has a
Hmm.
backbone who's going to stand up for them. So they showed up and they showed out, and it was a sweep. So
Absolutely.
it is possible for this to happen.
That that put some pep in our step too, because it made us feel like what we're doing is not futile, because at least once, twice a week, we are picking up our phones and we are yelling at people and we're telling them, you need to
Vote.
vote. No,
Yes.
people
Yes.
have died for you to be able to do this. You need to,
It's
and
funny
just
that
like
you
you
say
said, if
that.
there's enough of us,
Yeah.
it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I actually say that phrase a lot, and people kind of get a little quiet, but I'm like, but it's the reality.
Yeah.
No matter what lens you look at it, there is someone who sacrificed their life to ensure that you could vote.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that perspective, it should invoke a sense of urgency to be like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, no, I definitely need to get out and vote.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not letting that go in vain. I'm not going to disrespect
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
because I feel like it doesn't matter. Like I had an old friend call me
Mhm.
before these past elections and was like, he was
Okay.
iffy about it. He was like, I don't know if it'll, and I was like, open up vote.org right now. We're going to check if you're
Yeah.
registered.
Mhm.
And then of course he sends me his little he sent me his ballot after he voted, and I was like, shouldn't send me that. But I was like thank God. I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Mm-hmm.
this is what it takes. Like
It is.
Yeah.
every vote matters.
It does.
Period.
And I am such because I used to work at the African American Research Library and Cultural Center here in Broward County, and we were always an early voting site.
Mm-hmm.
And even over my almost 10 years of working there, so many people didn't even utilize that location as an early voting site. Like the lines were so short that people were in and out in a matter of like minutes.
Yeah.
But I say that just to encourage if for whatever reason you're like, oh, I don't want to go the long lines on election day. We have early voting, and
Right.
it's usually a 2-week period.
Yes.
And the times are extended. Like for the most part, they're like from 7 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
just one day after you get off of work, whether it's at 5 or it's at 6, and you're just able to get to that polling site, 9 times out of 10, even if you get there at like 6:59, they will still take you
Yeah.
because the election workers understand the urgency and the
Yep.
importance of voting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mean to be mean about it when I say there really is no excuse, but I want people to just make sure you're registered, make sure you're informed, make sure you use the convenience tools that are given to you by your SOE, which is early voting, vote by mail, and make your voice heard. I even challenge people to be leaders of their own. And what I mean by that is I actually got my family to be more involved in politics in terms of being aware of policy and being aware of the candidates and what it meant to vote for this person over that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Love
was having a
this.
conversation with my mom the other day, and she said, I was never really about politics until you turned 18 and you came home and you're like, okay, mom, I have to understand all these things. And so I challenge at least one person in every family in the state to be that leader and get your family to be civically engaged and
Uh-huh.
to exercise their right to vote.
Every
Because
family
once we
needs
do
one.
that,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely,
That's me for my family.
then the powers, right, and the power starts to trickle in and we have that unity and we achieve the victory.
Mm-hmm. Because then you know somebody has your back in your family. Like I know with my family,
Mhm.
I'm looking out for their best interest. And if they aren't able
Mhm.
to pay attention, I'm paying attention for them. So then they know when I'm reaching out to them, it's because it's important and it affects them. And I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, you got to vote and do this because this is going to directly affect you. This is how, these are resources. And, you know, I think when we take away or we write a line, because some people are like, if you don't vote, I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to,
Mhm.
how dare
Mhm.
you? It was so easy. And they don't see that for a lot of people, again, it's a privilege to be able to be informed and go
Mhm.
out and vote. But then When on the flip side, over the past 10 years, our country has made it so much easier to vote because of that, knowing that for a lot of people, they can't get out on election day. So there is this fine line, and that is where we can all come in and help our neighbors, reach out to somebody. You know, if you have somebody that's elderly living on your street, maybe reach out and see if you could drive them the day of the election so that they can get there. Like, this is where we really all come together as a community and help our families and our neighbors get out and exercise their right to vote. We can all do it together.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I love that you say that, because what we are missing so desperately right now, not just across our state, but across the country, is just a higher regard and empathy for humanity, which
Mhm.
fosters that sense of community.
Yeah.
We've steered so far away from that. This is how we've gotten to this place of having divisive cultures at the front of our everyday lives. And so we have to make sure that we are actively coming together. We are one. This is our home. No one's going to protect our home like us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. This is still
And
a
that's very
democracy.
evident.
It still is. I know it doesn't
We
seem
just
like
saw
it,
it.
but
We just saw
Yeah.
it.
Still a
It
democracy.
is alive and well.
Yes, it absolutely is. And right now, it doesn't feel like it, but we've had little wins across the
Yes.
entire state as well. We've had little wins. So, you know, we have to take that as motivation and inspiration to just continue forward. And we can't stop the momentum.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. We hit the fun portion. I'm interested in this one.
I know, me too.
So, yeah,
Okay.
if you're running for president, who is your dream VP, living or dead?
So I think most people, their gut reaction would be like Obama, right? And I love Obama.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I am going to say something that might seem a little cliche, but there is alignment between this woman and I, because she herself ran for Congress, but she was an educator first. And then she ran for president. And so for me, it would have to be Shirley Chisholm. And her motto of being, I believe it was unbought and unbossed.
Unbossed.
Yeah. Yeah. You're very Shirley Chisholm coded.
And that is exactly the type of woman I am. That is exactly the type of candidate I am. That is exactly the type of governor I would be. So if I was running for president, I would want to have someone that aligned with that
Wow.
same sentiment. And that would
You
be
picked
her.
the right
I
answer.
picked it. It's Devin and I, like 2 or 3 episodes ago, were talking about her.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I was watching a little bit of her not the
Mhm.
documentary, the Netflix movie.
Yeah, she's a Netflix
My
movie,
my mom had urged me uh a little while ago. She was like, "You really need to watch it." It's like, okay. So, and I got about like halfway through it, but you know, just knowing the bit that I do about her, and just she wasn't afraid.
She was a
No.
powerhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a powerhouse.
Absolute powerhouse of a human being. I mean, just the quote, unbought and unbossed, is wow.
And that's literally the people we are advocating for and like gravitating to. We're like, okay, this corporate lobbyist, oh, the airlines can call you up and say, end the shutdown. No more. No.
It's no longer for the
We don't
people
like
when
that.
it's like that.
No. So,
You know, I have like a lot of like specific questions that are always like in the comments of my post. And I feel like that motto of unbought and unbossed, like, I hope that
there.
answers the question that people have, because they're like, answer me.
Oh, that would for me. I'm like,
Oh,
sure. Okay.
okay.
That's it. Okay, cool.
You're like,
So-
just
Sure, I'll move to Florida to vote for you.
yeah, right. I know. Like Devin's like, can I register at your house so that I can go?
Yeah. And I married a teacher, so my wife's gonna love this one.
Would love it.
You know, and I've had some people who had a little bit of apprehension to me running as governor because I'm not a politician. But teachers are some of the most strongest people that you will ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, if there was anyone to put as the reset for our government, it would be an educator.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to be gentle parented.
So-
This country
I
needs some gentle parenting very
said it
quickly.
I said the other day, I was like, I'm literally up at night just like staring at the wall, and I'm like, we wouldn't be here if people were more educated.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah. Those are the things that keep me up at
The-
night, that women should be in charge, and we wouldn't be here if our education system was moving forward.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
forward, period.
Forward.
At all.
Yeah, because I don't know what we're doing. I can't even say we're moving left. I can't say we're moving right. I can't say we're moving backwards. I don't know where we're going, but it definitely isn't forward.
It definitely
That's
isn't
for sure.
forward. No.
Yeah.
It's like stagnant and spiraling downward.
Yeah, it's keeping us up at night. That's what it's doing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not great.
And it's giving me high blood pressure. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Right?
When I got an article earlier today, I was driving. I got so angry, but I was like, Dayna, just focus on the road because I drive a Honda. I can't.
be going crazy on the road.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Gotta keep it cool.
Well, we like this portion. This is a fun portion, especially for Florida.
Okay.
So this is a who said it out of politicians. This is obviously going to be a focus on
Okay.
Florida, but there are some that might be
Okay.
Trump. So we
Okay.
have a couple.
Oh my.
Don't worry, I'll give you the option of which two, and then you pick
Okay,
which
get
one you
options.
think-
Okay,
yeah,
I was going
which
to say,
one
I
you
don't know
think
how good
said
I'm going
it.
to be at this. Okay.
So
Okay.
this was said by either Rick Scott or Ron DeSantis, and it is the following quote: "If career politicians had the solutions, we wouldn't be in the mess that we are."
Oh, that's definitely Rick Scott.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because he
Rick.
ran on not being a career politician.
Mm-hmm.
And so because he was a businessman, that's how he was able. And then, yeah.
Ron DeSantis would never say this. It would never come out like that. It just wouldn't. All right, next is going to be either Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump. The following quote is, "Don't make government work like a business. It's inherently inefficient." It's a hard one.
I was going to say, was it DeSantis?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was. Okay. It was
I
a
don't
little
know
bit
where he
too
pulled that one out of.
cohesive. It was a little too cohesive. So I was like, it could not.
I think it was more
sounded like a put
Somebody
together
on his
thought.
team gave him that. They were like, "Say that. That's going to sound good."
Okay.
He's like, "Okay, got it." All right, next one is either Ron DeSantis or Brian Mast. So the quote is, "I enlisted in the United States Army and nearly gave my life for America because I believe deeply in the values for which the United States stands."
So I'm going to say Brian because I thought DeSantis was like a Marine. He's pretty
Yes.
like vocal
He is,
about
yep.
that.
Brian
Okay.
Mast, yep. He
Yep.
was
Okay.
United States Army and really
She's good.
believes in the core values, MAGA.
Okay.
Yeah. Two more. This one,
Okay.
Ron DeSantis or Byron Donalds. Who said this quote? The following quote is, "You need to be intent on reducing size, scope, and influence of government."
Can you say that one more time?
Yep. The following quote is, "You need to be intent on reducing size, scope, and influence of government."
So I'll admit, I don't think I've ever listened to Byron Donalds really speak.
I
So
mean, I get it.
I feel like it's DeSantis, but I don't know.
You're right. It is DeSantis.
It is DeSantis?
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
because that does sound very much like Ron. So
Yeah, those were his definitely
Okay.
Ron's words. Those he
They're
was
like,
like,
"Does
okay, I
Byron
can say
Donalds-
Okay.
size, scope is a good word, and then influence.
Yeah.
It's all gonna work well together. It's just word
Right.
jumble. I'm gonna pick some buzzwords
Right.
and just say them.
The corporate
Yeah.
lingo.
And
Buzzword
yeah.
salad.
Last but not least, this is going to be
Mhm.
Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump. Said the following quote: "Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen."
I think that's Trump.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
'Cause
can
what?
only good happen.
That was your lightning
Right.
round one. That was the bonus.
Has said it
Oh
here,
my god,
folks.
I'm
Donald Trump.
so
It can
shocked
only
when
good
you
happen.
that's so wild. When you said, like, "Oh, it's gonna be," I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get all of these wrong."
You're the
Okay.
first one to get all
You're
of
the
them
first person
right.
to get everything.
Wow.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's
It has
hard.
to be
Hall
the
of Fame.
teacher in me. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's the teacher, and
You
I
studied these people.
sometimes, like, for people running for certain districts, whoever the person they're running against
Yeah.
just hasn't really, like, said anything. Like, there was one where we were like, we could only find
Oh,
one interview they'd ever done, and they're a current rep. So it
okay.
was like, we can only find one interview and you're a current rep. Like, we couldn't even find
Mm,
quotes from them. So it was like,
It was hard to
right.
find Byron Donalds one.
he doesn't speak a
Yeah.
lot. Like, when I look him up, most
They
of
don't
his
let him.
stuff is like 2021,
You know,
2023.
I'll tell
They
you
don't let him.
this. I did see one time, I think he was giving, like, some kind of interview on it might have been CNN. And I don't know why, but I watched it and it just made me so angry. I think I told my mom, I was like, "Get this man off my TV," because it
Was it
just
the
made me
Mamdani
so
one where
mad.
he was like, he
No,
schools
this was
somebody
a
on
long time
Mamdani?
ago. Yeah, no, it was a
Mm.
long time ago. It would have to be like almost a year ago, but it just made me so angry.
Yeah.
And yes, it had to be a while ago because I knew he had gotten the backing from Trump to run for governor, but we didn't know who our Democratic, like, front runner would
Yes.
be. And I just remember just saying to myself, "Oh my god, I don't even know who in
This
God's
is
name is
bad.
going to, like, be on the on the opposing side, but it has to be someone that can, like, actually beat this guy."
They said, and here we
Because
go, David Jolly. Here's your get. Here's your
yeah.
get.
And, I don't understand, I will say this, the just, falling in line
Mm-hmm.
by so many officials, like,
Just
not
ceding their
waiting
power.
for but not even just waiting to see, like, who else will come out
Mm-hmm.
as a candidate, and then just to, like, feel out the landscape, like, have a couple of debates and, like, panel discussions against, like, like,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm ready for these
nothing. It's
debates.
Amazing.
just
Oh, I'm
Too
yeah,
ready
many.
it's
for the
like nothing.
debates.
So yeah,
I'm ready.
yeah.
That makes so much
Well, me
sense.
too, definitely, because
Oh, I can't wait. I will
I
go.
already know what's gonna be
I will
said,
travel.
so
You'll
it's
see
like,
me
okay.
front row. Just, yeah, she said what she said. You didn't answer the question.
Ugh,
You'll
I'm
be like
definitely
the
ready.
I'm gonna be escorted out.
Obama interpreter on
Yes.
Key and Peele.
Yes. That's gonna
Well,
be me.
No,
Absolutely.
I'm definitely ready.
all right. So for the last question, since
Okay,
we're gonna try to plan to see everybody that we interview when they win,
okay,
what is
okay.
your favorite hidden gem, like, selling point for Florida?
So selling point for
Yeah,
Florida?
like a
Oh my.
place, a
Yeah.
destination, a restaurant, like something that you're like, you'd have to go here if you come to Florida.
Okay.
Where are you taking us?
I think that depends. If I'm trying to, like, so I'm in South Florida. So my hidden gems, I think, would be here. If I was trying to wow you, it would definitely be the Ball and Chain in Little Havana. It's so rich in culture. They have amazing food. The mojitos are great.
Oh.
Sold.
And it really just kind of transports you, like, back in time, and just, like, I don't know, you just kind of feel like at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mhm.
love the Ball and Chain.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you go to Little Havana during the daytime, you see, like, all the old men playing the dominoes and everything like that. And
Stop.
so
Peace.
I love it. But I think another place where it might not necessarily be a hidden gem, but I actually do love this spot. So it's called Glitch Bar, and it's actually like a retro video game, like,
Oh, I'm there.
place. But
Say less.
it's like you walk in and it's like
Mhm.
the nostalgia and the sounds that you haven't heard in, like, decades, and especially in a time where things are just so heavy, it really transports you back to, like, when life was just so much
So
more
peaceful.
easygoing, and enjoyable, right? And where you could just like have fun.
Yeah.
So,
Kid.
and they have
Oh,
like
you
a
sold me
lot of
out on
retro
that.
stuff. They even have like old school like Mario stuff and
I'm a
like
Devin's
gamer,
never
so
leaving.
yeah, and
yeah.
then Mortal Kombat and like yeah, it's pretty
Dayna,
cool.
He
come
said, "I'm gonna
Yeah,
on.
take my
it's pretty cool.
mojito and I'm gonna go to the retro."
I gotta come back.
He's like, "I actually live here now.
So you coming back from Florida? No, I'm just gonna live at Glitch
I'm
Bar.
gonna be here at Glitch Bar. I have an air mattress. It's all good. I love it. I love it." Yes,
Yeah, I'm
I
Thank
sold.
you.
am absolutely over the moon for your campaign. I know your family's probably your number one supporter, but I'm here. I'm over here. Don't
Thank
you
you.
mind me? I'm just really excited for a female powerhouse to be
Yes.
up in the ranks and telling these men, just telling these men. That's all I gotta say. I'll keep it nice. I'm just telling these men. And before we outro out, I want to give you a chance to shameless plug because you are fully grassroots. So I want you to give a chance to plug your website where people could donate, your socials, and if you have any events coming up that people in Florida could come see you.
So our socials for the most part are all Foster for Florida. I think except for X, it's like Foster and then like the number 4 and then Florida. And so I do ask for people to follow us on our campaign socials so that they can find out more information about policy, our policy proposals, and then anything that we may be doing event wise. We just literally launched a couple of weeks ago. So we are still in that groundwork phase of getting our lineup for events. I would say that everything for the most part would kick off in 2026. But we want to ensure that we let you guys know. So as soon as we can, we'll post that information. In terms of donating, we are accepting our donations through Act Blue. And so there is a direct link on our website, like on our homepage. If you scroll down, there's a little button. It says donate now. You click on it and it'll just take you to Act Blue. And you can donate once. You can do reoccurring donations. My motto is this because our campaign is people-centered and people-powered. If 1 million Floridians come together and just donate $1, we'll have what we need to be able to mobilize across the state.
Yep.
And I'm not into taking more money than what we need. You have some candidates that have 30 million and 20 million dollars in what they call like war chest. And I'm like, but yet we just left like 3 to 4 million Floridians without food for a few weeks.
Yep.
So, you know, I don't even feel fully comfortable asking people for $1 because we're all out here just trying to make it.
Mm-hmm.
If I could, and if I was a millionaire, I wouldn't ask anybody for a thing. I would just fund my own campaign, you know, and make it do what it does. But
But
I
yeah,
do need the
it's
help.
grassroots.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And we always
It's
say,
grassroots. I am a teacher.
yep. You are
Give her
Paid from
$1.
taxpayer dollars.
for a
So
$1. It goes
just
back to
It's an
you.
investment.
It is. It's like
It's an
it's an
investment.
investment in you. It's an investment in the state. It's an
It is.
investment in our
It is.
future.
Infrastructure, education.
Take, don't
Yeah.
go to Starbucks one day, and then that's $4 to $10, depending on what you were going to get at Starbucks, and give that to Dayna, and then it's fine. Make your coffee at home for one day. There are some things that I think people could do, and if you can't give money, there are lots of other ways I'm sure that you can give to Dayna, helping
Oh,
campaign
absolutely.
and just spreading the
Yeah.
word about her. Maybe somebody else can donate money that you know of. So, there's so much with grassroots. It takes a village. So we are very thankful
It
for
does.
you, for your whole team and
Thank
your
you.
family and everybody that's backing you, because I know it is not easy,
Thank you.
and especially running for governor. So we have your back over here at Blue-Lusional, and we really
Thank
hope
you.
that the next time we see you on this channel that you are governor and we're celebrating, having a little
Thank
partay
you.
at the
Uh-huh.
Glitch.
Right. And so I do want to also just remind everyone, just for context, before we get ahead of ourselves, we have to make sure we're focusing on the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so there is no Foster against Donalds unless Florida nominates me to be the Democratic candidate for governor.
Yes.
So we have to make sure, again, you're registered to vote, your
Mhm.
friends, family, colleagues are registered to vote. And next year in August is where primaries take place. And then once that happens, then we can really get down in the trenches and we can campaign even more so the way that we need to across this entire state, because at that point, it will become a fight for the soul of Florida.
Well, you guys have your homework. Go check your voter registration if you live in Florida and lock in that date in August. Get yourselves ready. If you need to vote early, mail in ballots, just make sure you're ready. Put that reminder on your phone.
We'll be reminding.
We'll be reminding you guys, don't you worry.
Thank
We'll
you.
find you. Don't you worry.
Yes. Well, Dayna, thank you so much. I know you just kicked off your campaign and things are crazy. So really thank you for joining us on the Blue-Lusional podcast. As you guys know, we're interviewing these candidates every single week leading up to the primaries. Every week we are booked out through the end of January. It's crazy. Everybody is running and I love to see it. Devin loves to see it. So make sure you're tuning in every single week and listening in to our grassroots candidates, hearing their policies and getting excited for primaries because we're excited over here. Thank you. And thank you so much, Dayna, for joining us.
Thank you both for having me. I really appreciate it. And I had a
Thank
blast. I
you.
had a
Yay,
really good
I
time.
love
This was a
it.
fun
Thank
interview.
you.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.